Hey Cameron, so I'm a curious person and I like to learn new things. I like to stay up with what's going on in the world, but I also like to know like science news or history or whatever, right? So I want to go over a few ways that I've found to do this for free. So the first is going to be Twitter. And I know the initial response to this is Twitter is a cesspool. However, there is a specific way that I use Twitter that helps with this, and that is by not going to the For You page, but instead using the following page and lists. Now, the trick to this, if you're going to use the following page, is you can only be following people or websites or news organizations or anything like that that you actually want to be seeing. Like the For You page is going to be your cesspool of trash that is curated just for you. And then the following page is where you can go to see like only the people that you're following, only the pages that you're following, all of that. You're going to have like the occasional ad thrown in there, but it's largely just going to be that. And I'll show you how to do that and how to create a list.
So here we are on my Twitter. You can see I'm on the For You page. This is the trash, and then the following is going to be the people that I'm actually following. So you can see I scroll down a little bit, and you can see that there's an ad there. But other than that, it's just going to be time order. So then I come over here, and I can go to lists, and I'm going to go over here to make a list. I click the create icon down at the bottom, name my list, create a description, and then set it to private so that I'm the only one seeing it, and hit create. Now I can add different pages that I want to be able to see in that list. So I'm going to add nature, some other science stuff, and now let's go over and see our list. We can go up to the top, the ellipses, pin to home, and then we're going to go back, and you can see that science is one of the tabs, and then you can click on it and see all your science.
So next is going to be Reddit. So Reddit, same thing as Twitter. Basically, like, you can definitely get into the cesspool that is Reddit, but if you just specifically curate your experience on Reddit by following subreddits that you like and that you want to see. Now, both Twitter and Reddit, they're not what you're going to be doing if you're very, very busy, because obviously you're doing stuff, but it's a good way to kind of go, look, see what's going on, and then I never use that as like the source, but it's like you learn, you find something out from that, and then you go out and you find other sources. Sometimes they'll link to the source, but you can go out and you can find like other articles, other sources, all of that type of stuff. All right, so next let's get into the sources that I use for learning when I'm busy. So the first is going to be YouTube. There are so many excellent educational channels on YouTube that you can follow. Channels like Crash Course, SciShow, Kurzgesagt, Veritasium, Clint's Reptiles, Real Science. The list goes on and on and on of absolutely fantastic educational channels that you can follow. I'll have those on like in the background, like if I'm doing chores around the house and stuff like that, I'll put on just some educational videos or one of those channels and just listen to stuff. The next thing, if you don't want to just have a YouTube video running that you're not necessarily watching because you might be busy, or let's say you're out and about and you don't necessarily want to be using all that data because YouTube is going to be using a lot more data than a lot of other just like audio only sources. So the next thing is going to be podcasts. So you can use Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any podcasting platform that you want to, and you can follow the educational podcast. Science Versus, Let's Learn Everything, the weirdest thing I learned this week. The Science of Everything podcast, Every Little Thing, 99% Invisible, Unexplainable, Stuff You Should Know. The list goes on of just fun stuff that I listen to learn things about, like I said, the science or just the world. This is an excellent way to be able to learn things if you are busy. You can listen to a podcast while you're driving, while you're exercising, while you're just doing chores. Basically anything that you don't have to be using your ears to listen to things, you can be listening to a podcast. And then my last tip/resource that I recommend for learning if you are busy is audiobooks. Now, I know I said at the top of the video that everything on here was going to be free, and these are if you know how to do it. So obviously, if you're using something like Audible or something like that, you're going to be paying for the audiobooks that you are listening to and that you are purchasing. Whether it's you're purchasing the audiobooks individually or you're paying for some sort of a subscription service. However, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, most public libraries allow you to rent audiobooks. So you can use an application like Hoopla, Libby, or like there's a few others, and be able to tie your library card for your local library to that application, and you can actually rent audiobooks through that app. So like I use Libby, I rent an audiobook, I get 14 days for the rental. I can extend it or I can return early, and there's a limit to how many I can have checked out at a time, but it's basically the same thing as like if you went to the library and you were actually like borrowing a book and leaving, except for you're doing it on an application and it's an audiobook so you can listen to it. And the best part about doing it this way, it is absolutely free with your library card. And you can apply for a library card online in most places. Anyway, I hope that provides some good insight on ways that you can learn things if you are both busy or just like sitting on the toilet, but all for free.